Good evening, it's 5 o'clock. We're going to bring this meeting to order. Commissioner Kemp, you want to do the invocation tonight?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
Dear Father, thank you very much for this gracious day that you have bestowed upon us. I ask you to lead us in the right direction and help us make good decisions for the county and our community. Please help us in our America, because we are definitely in trouble. And please stand with our first responders and our law enforcement. Amen.
Amen. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, you call me off guard there.
Oh, that's good. Kept on your toes. I can't let Ralph hear one all the time.
You know I'll do it anytime you want to do it.
No, maybe Greg should have done it. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve. Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Mrs. Welch, do we have any citizens to be heard tonight? Not yet? Goodness gracious. Moving into awards and presentations, which we have none. Moving on to consent. Have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Heather, is this the time that I need to bring up my commissioner agenda item for change, or no, if I can just wait until I get there? Okay. Have a motion and a second. Any discussion on consent? All in favor? Aye. No consent items pulled for discussion. We'll move on into general business.
Yes, Madam Chair, this agenda item request purchase agreement with Toyin Incorporated for the approval of resolution approving lease purchase agreement with Leasing 2 Incorporated to finance the purchase of a fire engine in the amount of $888,924.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Passes unanimous. Number 11.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a request for the board to select 2 regular members and 1 alternate member to serve on the Code Enforcement Board and approve a resolution appointing the selected members. We've sent out solicitations in accordance with the county's policy and received 3 interested parties, which are included in your agenda item this evening. We would ask that the board select 2 of these to serve as regular members and 1 as an alternate member. I'll be happy to answer any questions about the code boards.
Madam Chair, I have a motion.
Please.
Okay.
I move that we approve Rosario Reyes and George Zilkoff as the regular ones and Thomas Thompson as the alternate.
Okay.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Are you just missing one more alternate?
I'm still missing 1 more alternate, yes, sir. So we are continuing to issue those solicitations. So
Such a fun job.
if you know of anybody, or if there's anybody in the audience that wants to serve on the code board, we have a vacancy.
Don't nod or do that.
I'll add a couple zeros to your check, Walt.
Oh, wow, that's a great person to be on there. Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Passes unanimously. Number 15?
Yes, Madam Chair, this agenda item requests board approval to waive the procurement ordinance number 2015-2 and approve the construction of the Wakulla Sands Golf Club Pro Shop. This will be done in the same manner and the same dollar volume, actually less than our concession stand that we're done. We're actually saving money by doing it this way.
Motion to approve. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Passes unanimously. Number 16.
Good evening, Commissioners. This agenda item requests board approval to rescind the previous board action on November 20th, 2023, approving the construction agreement with Perez Construction Incorporated, and also requests board direction regarding accepting and awarding ITB number 2023-32, Wakulla County Sheriff Office Vehicle Maintenance Building to Mills and McKinnon Contractors Incorporated.
Motion for discussion.
Second. I was looking at this, and we are so far from having this done, but it's $224,000 more. The problem is if we put it out for another bid, those prices, because they're changing every day and everything's getting higher, so, but we're so far beyond where this needs to be done 5-6 years or longer than that, but I just can't see spending another $224,000. But the problem is, if we keep on waiting, that price could be from $224,000 could be $300,000 more.
Madam Chair, be careful, speak. We need to move on with it. Pete and them, they're literally standing in the rain. We need to move on so that we can get this thing done. I know it's a little more money, but they have been waiting for right at 6 years, Pete? About 8 years? Okay, yeah, we need to get this done. It's becoming a safety issue.
Question.
Yes.
Do we know if we drop back to the second bidder, are they still bound by the terms of that? Is there a time frame on that?
Yes, they are.
They've agreed, there was a slight increase in painting costs, but otherwise they've agreed to honor their bid prices.
I'm kind of where Mike is. That's nearly $250,000 that we might be able to shave a few dollars. I don't know, but obviously we bid. Well, that's what we can look at as well, again, because this is about the third or fourth time we shaved, but we can look and see what we can do. And, we'll talk to Pete further about the interior finishing and stuff like that, as far as whether his crew can do that or not, or how we want to go about doing that. So that's a possibility, but I can't guarantee you.
Your direction today when we spoke is the only way we can shave anymore, truthfully, is to cut a bay down.
Any big dollars is cutting a bay.
Okay.
And I wouldn't want that.
No,
I want to keep the bill like it is, that's what Pete, keep that.
Yeah.
We are talking about $250,000.
Yeah. But it did go out to bid, so if anybody could beat that price, they could have beat that price already when it went out to bid, so.
Pete, you want to come up and fill out a speaker's card and talk about this? Okay. Do you have anything to add, Commissioner Hess?
It's just a shell. It's kind of a lot of money for a shell.
With you. Well, and guys, this is hence, I'm sorry, Commissioner, but this is the reason that the previous item is there, is we're finding that commercial, especially commercial building, that's high, just out of this world high, and no reason for it.
But what you explained to me is this one's too big for us to jump on.
Oh yeah, this is too big for us to do that way, and
When did these bids originally go out? A couple months ago, right? And the price is already increased.
yeah. Well, the only thing that's increased, I'm not sure the red iron has increased, it may have decreased some, but the painting did and stuff like that, but that's stuff that we'll talk to the contractor and see if there's any decrease in the red iron, and see if we can get some savings there.
Mike, so what was your motion?
For discussion, just, see where, we're looking at, again, $250,000, difference. And what I do worry about, if we put this off, which, as Pete said, it's over 8 years, it's way past doing, I wish we would already done it.
Well, and the safety part of it.
Keep going, kicking the bucket down the road, $224,000 is gonna be $350,000.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's what I worry about. And I'm kind of like what Ralph just said, if somebody could have done it cheaper, they would have already bid it on it, so.
And our low bidder can't do it, it's just a matter, they can't do it, and we're still $100,000 under the next bid that was, or the third bid that was there, so.
Well, it does keep going up by $200,000 increments-ish.
Yes,
So,
each time.
so what is the motion on the table with regards to what action we're going to do tonight? Does anybody have one of those they want to throw out?
I make a motion that we go ahead and approve it, because I don't want them standing in water anymore. We've pushed this can down the road for 8 years, and they need it.
Okay?
I'll second that. We need to dispose of his motion first, though.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I withdraw my motion, we talked about it.
Okay, so I have a motion and a second to move ahead with the second bidder. Is that the motion on the floor?
Yes, ma'am.
Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
No public hearings tonight.
Good job, Pete.
Planning and zoning, why don't you talk a little bit more next time? Planning and zoning?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a request for the board to conduct the final public hearing and adopt an ordinance amending the comprehensive plan policy 1.6 of the future land use element. This ordinance is pertaining to wellhead protection. As you may recall, back in December, the board approved the transmittal of this ordinance to the state agencies. Staff received no responses or objections from any state agency who reviewed this amendment. Again, this is going to amend the zone of exclusion from 300 foot to 100 foot around potable water wells.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
It still keeps the 1,000 foot for all hazardous waste.
Yes, sir, it does.
Yeah.
Any more discussion?
No, ma'am.
All in favor? Aye. Passes unanimously. Moving into number 13, Commissioner Messersmith, request board approval to appoint Jessica Welch as the alternate member on the canvassing board. Heather, may I ask you or David to explain how we got here, or do I need to?
Sure. So we had, Commissioner Nichols was a former alternate who, his wife is running for school board and has drawn the challenger, so he will now not be able to serve on canvassing board as a result. He'll be involved in that campaign to a certain extent. So it's up to the chairman to appoint an alternate. You originally report Andrew Riddle, who would be a great appointment, but your position on the canvassing, or on the planning commission is an office. And I don't want you to run into a potential dual office holding problem. If that was the case, you would get moved from one of them. So we had discussions about this today, and I don't know if Jessica volunteered or was volunteered, but she has agreed to,
She was voluntold.
That's what I said.
She probably, have you had a one-on-one with her? Okay, yeah, you don't. Goodness gracious. All right, that was professional.
Just playing.
So there we have it. So am I allowed to make my own motion, or how would you like me to handle that, or if someone else on the, okay. Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Jessica, speak now. Further? Okay. Hearing no discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. County Attorney?
just one quick, I think you all know the language we had adopted last year to amend Chapter 33303 so that we would not have to do a noise study is somewhat being reopened this year. It's kind of in a state of flux. We're working to propose some alternate language that would maintain, we'll call it county status, and not, disproportionately impact other airports in the state. We're working with the county's legislative consultant on that, and Commissioner Thomas is also taking a lead role in making sure that we remain protected. I'll let you guys know as the legislative session moves forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Administrator?
Yes, there's, as Commissioner Thomas can tell you, there's a plethora of legislative things going on, and maybe he can update you on that. But in the past, I think I've mentioned that the legislature would love to get rid of ad valorem, and one of the proposals up in the House right now is just that very thing, to do a study to do that. So, so anyway, not that anything will happen this year, but that means that there's a possibility in the future there could be something that'll get things much more complicated for whatever reason, I don't know. Anyway, talking about things, I want to bring to light, we've got the bids back today for the septic and sewer projects, one in Magnolia Gardens 4 and our Phase 4, and Wakulla Gardens Phase 6. We bid Magnolia Gardens out probably about 3 months ago. It came back high. So we bundled them with Wakulla Gardens Phase 6 to get a larger project so we could get better funding, better prices. We did get better prices, but the problem is we have $6.7 million in funding, and the project, the lowest bid was $9.7 million. Hence the problems that we're seeing all over the place with now it's like trying to pin the tail on a donkey to get a price quote. So what we're going to do is once we qualify these bids, and because that's an apparent low, but everything's got to get qualified. But what we're going to do is this project and the Wakulla Gardens 6 were part of the funding that we got from DEP that has a portion of that is ARPA funding. There's 2 other phases in Wakulla Gardens, Phase 5 and Phase 7, that have ARPA funding in them. That was the federal money that came in from the CARES Act and all of that other stuff. That funding has to get extinguished and be used by December 26, right? 2026. So we're looking at, we're going to go back and talk to DEP once we qualify all this and say, okay, here's the 4 projects we got within ARPA. How do we want to shuffle the deck? Or you can give us more funding and we do them all, which one of these? So we got to have that conversation with DEP. Secondly, we're going to idle until we get past some of this crazy period. We want to talk to DEP about idling some of our money, some of our awards that we've gotten to get past December 26th, because you got to realize a lot of these municipalities, larger ones like Tallahassee, they have ARPA funding, large amounts and projects that's going on just like we do. It's sucking up all of the contractors and everybody's bidding high. We're concerned that if we go and put some of our other Springs funding dollars out there, that those bids are going to come in really, really high as well. So we're going to talk to DEP about stalling just a little bit and get these projects, get them out of the clear the baffles with these projects, and then in 27 crank back up again on some others. That's what our attempt is. I just wanted to make sure y'all are aware of what all we're facing here. So these bids came in at 3 o'clock today, so kind of still in shock. But it's, we've just about every project here lately has come in, and we wiggle it around and try to figure out how. But so anyway, that's what we're up against.
Anybody?
I'm just curious, why don't do away with ad valorem tax?
Well, I mean, I don't know if they're going to totally do away with it, but what they're looking at is an additional exemption, which would go to the voters. Do you want an additional exemption? Who doesn't want a decrease in their tax? Right? Who's going to vote against that typically? Well, what that means is now there's a shortage of money that every county is going to have. So something's got to be cut or it's got to be offset somewhere else. That exemption would go to residential homeowners, just like it does now, homestead exemption. And so the thought is, well, it creates the possibility of a shift to businesses, to non-residential properties. So if the county's going to operate with X amount of dollars and they're going to have to make it up, where are they going to make it up? Or, seemed to be a thought somewhere in Tallahassee that we're all flush with cash and we got plenty of fat to cut, and it's really easy for them to cut our fat when they could just cut their fat. But, it's a whole lot easier to tell the people when they run for re-election, well, look at this tax break we gave you, but they didn't have to give up anything to make that happen. And so that's all this is, it's frustrating that they're not being forthright with the citizens.
Yeah, because it's going to hurt your real small counties.
Yeah, for sure. Now, in the past, though, it was physically restrained. Last year, there was carve out for small counties where the state would make us whole, and I don't know, I haven't seen that yet this year, and it could come about, but I haven't seen that yet.
Can I just go back? We're going to pick up with Ralph in 1 second, just so we kind of stay on course. Are you finished, David?
Yes.
Okay. Do I have any citizens to be heard? Okay. I'm going to start with you, Commissioner Thomas. Finish off that. Or whomever, whichever one you guys want to
I'm just
go.
curious, we still have to fund all the services we provide.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to be passed on to people that can't afford to buy a house anyway. That's the bottom line.
This doesn't make any sense.
Well, plus it's already, with the homestead exemption, it's a disproportionate effect. A small percentage pays most of the ad valorem tax anyway. And so this would raise that bar, so you've got even fewer paying it, and then we've got less money coming in, so we gotta figure out, can we do without that money, or are we gonna have to go pick it up somewhere else, you know? Yeah.
It's an idiotic.
I mean, but it's like this every year, you know. I told him, I was quoted statewide several years ago. I said, you proposing this is like telling everyone that you're going on a diet by cutting your neighbor's food, cutting his food consumption. You know, cut your own sales tax. You know, I mean, I don't know why I don't see it. Yeah.
Mr. Kemp?
I wanted to, and I should have brought this up to David today. I really want to look at about the fees for these nonprofit organizations that use our facilities and stuff like that. I think, what is it, a $40 parking fee? Is that right? Am I wrong about that?
Parking fee?
Or for the buildings and stuff, like when Farm Share?
We have all different fees.
Yeah, there's all different fees, yeah.
I actually was gonna, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but maybe just if we could get the fees sent out so that everybody understands that every single park is different and there's a lot of moving parts with regard to.
All right, do that, and then I'll talk about it.
Problem is we went through this, and Commissioner Thomas remembers this, and Commissioner Hess. That is a Pandora's box. And everybody that don't take, even create a nonprofit. We went all these years since, when we changed this at, Jess? Probably 11 or 12. 12 or 13. We were having one person right after the next come up and say, waive them. We said, no, we're not gonna do that. Here's the fee set. And, yeah, and guess what? It went radio silent. And everybody pays for it because it's not fair to give anyone a break other than anyone.
Well, I think if somebody's holding an event, like, and I'm gonna use Farm Share, and it's benefiting the community, why we're gonna charge?
Farm Share used our facilities free.
I was going to say, Mike, I checked on that farm, the parking lots are free.
Yeah, parking lot's free, yeah.
There is no,
I thought there was a $60 fee.
Absolutely not.
Okay, that's my bad.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
No.
well, and also you can use the park, if you're not reserving the park and no one's there, you can just pull up and use it, but you're taking a chance of whether or not it's going to be there. You're paying
I
the fee.
misunderstood it.
No, that was, they just let us know, and we say, no, we don't have an event going on, y'all knock yourself out.
Yeah, I called Miss Dottie, and the parking lots are free.
Yeah.
Well, and hopefully the fee is low enough that it's covering, Dolly's time or whoever's cleaning up and picking up afterwards and going unlocking and locking place. So there is a cost to taxpayers, and so it's not that we need to use that as a profit, but we need to break even on it. And
That's right, and that's what we do, we pretty much break even, at best.
now, I wouldn't mind us talking about if someone rents the park. I think the way it's set up now, they pay a park rental fee, and then each individual booth participant also pays a fee. And so maybe we can revisit that and say one flat fee, and then we don't have to have somebody counting and making sure that
$40 a fee.
we're getting our,
The problem is with that is the more people we have, that means the more staff we have to have. That's the reason we set it that way, to where the larger events, we could staff them up.
yeah.
So, and where do you cut that threshold off? You got 25 vendors, it goes to one fee, and 50, you go to another, and,
I mean, I think all of our fees are very reasonable.
yeah. And we haven't went up on them, either.
Well, the only reason you charge a fee is because you're restricting everybody else's usage of the
Yep.
park while you've got the park. So those are the people that are having to pay.
And it must not be too bad, because did y'all see the crowd that was down there 2 Saturdays ago? If it was that bad, they wouldn't have been there.
Yeah.
That's the market guy side of me.
Yeah. You are participating.
That's right.
Yeah.
How's that?
Okay,
I'm all good.
you all good? You want to circle back on anything? Or are you good?
There was something else I did want to say.
Term limits?
No, I mean, that's still running full speed ahead, but we'll see. Right now, it's 8 years in the House, 12 years in the Senate, and we're still working on let the people decide. Everyone that has stood up there has said the legislature has term limits because the people voted, and now you're trying to make it an act of statute and take it away from the will of the people. And so
What I think and what most people have said is take it to all 67 counties and let the voters decide. If you want term limits, let's get term limits. If you don't, let Wakulla decide for Wakulla, not Miami-Dade decide for Wakulla. You know?
Was it maybe 333
Oh, for
that you were going to talk about?
the airport stuff. I don't know, there's a whole lot to really talk about beyond what Heather mentioned already, but, you know, the basis of it is we collectively made the decision that we didn't want to spend several $100,000 on the noise study. So we got that passed through the legislature last year, pretty much slid through no problems, and now apparently other folks in the industry are saying that it impacts other airports, as many as maybe 100 airports. And so they're wanting to change that language. And so what we're working on is to try to make sure that if it's changed, it's not going to change to our detriment. We're not trying to hurt them. We're not trying to, you know, put our nose in other counties and their business, but we don't want their change to now come back and put several $100,000 worth of noise study requirement on Wakulla County. So that's where we're fighting.
Anything else?
No, ma'am.
Just said that I needed to clarify the motion on number 16. Commissioner Nichols, I believe that you were the first, and Commissioner Thomas, you were the second, and that is to request board approval to rescind previous board action for Pete Scalise. What was the motion? Is that what you need, Jess?
Yeah, the motion was to approve,
Second bidder.
To rescind the old one and approve the new one?
Make sure we say the bidder, the correct contractor's company name real quick. I had a question on that as well.
number 1, that should be the motion.
Okay. Ralph, can you do that since you're the only person with a computer? Well, you have one too.
So, let's see.
I can read it.
Thank you.
The motion that I recorded was to rescind the previous board action on November 20th, '03, approving the construction agreement with Perez Construction, Inc., and approve to accept and award ITB 2023-32, referring to the Wakulla County Sheriff's Office Vehicle Maintenance Building to Mills and McKinnon Contractors, Inc., and approve the construction agreement with...
That's exactly what Fran said.
Motion to approve.
So that's the motion. That's your second. Do I need to redo it or just clarification's fine?
That's what I had recorded.
Okay.
That's what I shared about.
Yeah, that was the intent of my second, for sure.
Okay. All right.
Good catch.
Motion to adjourn.
Who do you think caught that?
Kelly or
Well, Renee.
Renee
Renee or Jess.
Renee or Jess?
Exactly.
Kelly, I'm sorry. I mean, Renee, I just saw this.
The motion to adjourn? Okay, your turn.
You want this here,